Hey guys, COREROSS and 106 News. Today we have the Operation Collision Point patch notes. We'll actually jump to one of the main things that people love to see, and that is the seasonal skin. So here it is, of course, Blackbeard themed. It's not the best, but it's not the worst either. And I assume this means that other remasters we might see next year probably will also have their own kind of themed skin like this. Now, let's get to the meat of the patch notes today. We'll start with something I was told when I got to see the reveal a couple of days early, which happens for content creators. We see like a pre-production version of the reveal, and it included one of these major headline features that was coming with the new season, and that was a console test server. And of course I edited up my videos with that content in there, and it was like, this is perfect. I'm so happy to see a console test server. I play a console myself, so this was awesome. And then of course the reveal happens, and there's no mention of this feature. I, to this moment, still have not managed to get an answer from Ubisoft if there is a console test server or if there is not. Presumably, they plan to have it out, but something has gone wrong and they don't. Or at least it doesn't seem like they're going to have that. There's certainly no mention in here of a console test server, so I assume it's not happening. But at least that means they are looking into it in a way that sounds like it's actually close to happening. Maybe it'll be next season before it happens, but at least it seems to be on the way. I just have not been able to get information out of Ubisoft on that feature at all. So anyway, onto the patch notes. We got Blackbeard here. This is already incorrect. He does not have a pistol anymore. This has actually been removed. He only has primary weapons to choose from, MK17 or the SR25. He's got claymores and frags. Frags are cool because you can actually throw them from behind the shield. Pretty awesome. And you can see he's a 3 health, 1 speed operator, so he is slower than he used to be. And of course, he's got his fancy new shield that you guys have probably seen by now. We've got some balancing. So we'll go into the designer notes a little bit later, which go even deeper into the changes. But Sense is getting an interesting change where they're able to actually put their gadget on or off. And when it's in the off position, they can put out their laser walls, and the little projectiles it drops just stay there. And they pretty much run for the entire round. And you can switch them on whenever you want, and they only use energy when they're on. So it's actually, I think, a really big change for Sense. Don't know if it's going to work, but it's a fun one, and it's a really good one. Then we've got Thunderbird. So her health stations are going to heal you and give you a buff, which is just a passive heal over time. It only goes away if you take damage. So you can just passively heal back up to full health. This should be a sensational change for Thunderbird. Then we got the ballistic shields. Massive nerf all around. Their melee is gone to 0, so it used to be 65. It is now 0. They do the knockback still, but they do 0 damage. Means no more eliminations from any melee attacks. The guard break also gets intensified over time as the defenders hit you. So if one defender just keeps repeatedly hitting you, they'll just be able to wipe you out in no time. If 2 of them come up and melee you, you're in deep, deep trouble. So you need backup all the time with shields now. So they've definitely gone back to being a support role, and I think it's a huge nerf. Is it the pendulum going the opposite direction too far? I do not know at this point. Moving on from that, we have our player protection. So Mousetrap is going 2.0. To me, it's going to come down to whether this ban for 90 days actually works. This is something that has changed as well since my little early reveal that I seen, because they also said 90 days or 100 matches, and they only mentioned the 90 days in here. So I don't entirely know what's happening with Mousetrap on the exact specification for the move over to the PC matchmaking, and when you do that, you also get the full PC recoil. But no native mouse and keyboard support. I think that native is going to come. I feel like they're pushing more and more towards that, but it's not coming with this one. Then we've got cheater match cancellation. So if a cheater is detected in your match, the game is instantly cancelled. Now, I'd be interested if this worked on console, but I think this is a PC only feature for people that have been detected with like BattlEye and such. Then we've got the Reputation Center overhaul. Now, this is only going to work, I think, if there's actual human participants in this on Ubisoft's side, because the last time it was easily manipulated, and I feel like it could still be the case with the new one. We'll have to see though. I don't know if they've got, they talk about units and stuff like that. I think it comes down to just verifying reports every so often to see if it really is the case that people are being, if people are really being terrible or someone's just mass reporting. We've also got the AI text moderation, which will just flag highly toxic messages. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of people pissed off at that. So we'll see how that goes. And then we've got the console to PC crossplay at 1.0. So people will be able to jump into the PC player base. I believe you still need to squad up with a friend on PC in order to do this. And they say console players get the option to join PC player if they wish, but PC players will not be able to move into the console matchmaking pools. And any squads that has a PC player in it will play PC matchmaking. So yeah, I don't think this is a bad thing because it just means friends can go play with friends. I don't know how often console players will jump to the PC side. It's better to have the freedom to choose than no choice at all. Then we've got the Siege Cup. So they're still actually calling it a beta here. So I assume it is still effectively in a beta stage, but it is now going to all platforms and they fixed it up a little bit. So yeah, could be very, very good and looking forward to that hitting everybody. So that's awesome. Then we've got matchmaking, so this is going to be updated for ranked and all playlists. So you've got the phantom player, which means if like basically you've got a champion in your squad and you guys are copper skill, then you would get, your champion would get easier games. This will make it so the champion doesn't get those easier games. It might also mean you as a player might see less champions going up against you if you're a lower skill player. So it just comes down to how this is going to work, and fingers crossed that it actually does. They've also got team rebalancing. And what this will do is it'll look at the two teams and it'll go, wait a minute, this team is outmatched because it has a squad of 3 with high skill. They should be on the other team, and it'll move things around. So you'll still stay in your squads, but it'll move those squads in the teams around to try and make it more balanced. My only issue, this is probably just using the skill rating, which is just from wins and losses. So I think it'll not be brilliant at actually rebalancing. Moving on from that, we've got our long-term progression. So we've got a career page in the game, which will actually show some stats, good to have. And actually going back to what we did have back in the day. Then we've got the badges, and these will add in new things you can progress through. Should be cool. I do wish they backdate stuff. I don't think they're going to. I think it's going to be everyone's going to start from zero. And I hope they add in a lot more badges over time. But at least it's a cool thing and something to really just work on getting. So I'm looking forward to that getting added in. Then, of course, we've got our seasonal skin that we looked at earlier, the Blackbeard theme. Very nice. And we've got an operator decrease, so awesome. These operators now be cheaper than they were previously. Then we've got operator balancing. So we'll actually go over these in the designer notes in a second because there's a more detailed page for them. But we'll hit on some of this stuff here. So we'll go over this in the designer notes too. They're updating the player guides, they're updating match replays. They're going to have highlights in the match replays. There's drone jump trajectory now, which looks really cool. Some quality of life changes with drones and stuff. Caster cards for obviously Pro League and stuff. And then this, the DX11 has been removed. Oh boy. I don't think this is good because DX12 is not brilliant for everyone. And I don't think this is going to be good, especially with the removal of Vulcan last time. Bad. We got some map training updates. We got some versus AI. And then some playlist updates. Added Hereford to quick match. Hereford to standard, and training grounds has got consulate, emerald plains, and removing lair and stadium. So let's move over to the designer notes. So this is the year 9 season 4 designer notes. Of course, we got our usual balance and graphs, and this looks pretty normal to usual what we've seen last mid-season. We got Ash up top, Ace behind, nothing too crazy here. And of course, this is PC platinum above. Moving over to console platinum above, Ash, skyrocketing, but win rate's not crazy. Ace is kind of similar to where he is on PC. And the other ones are relatively well congregated here too, with Sens dropping off. So this is actually looking quite similar between PC and console. Defenders, we've got the PC again. Jock up here, we got Rook, we got Clash, and we got the Recruit not doing so good. On console, we got a more exaggerated graph with Doc way up high. We've got Capcan up here. The new operator not doing so great here. Where's Recruit? Recruit's here. So kind of similar location-wise. And on PC, yeah, similar location. With actually the new very similar location as well. And then we've got our bands. So PC, we've got Monty and Dockerby up top. With on console, we've got Monty and Jackal. And then for defense on PC, we've got Fenrir, followed by Mira. Whereas on console, we've got Capcan, then Fenrir, then Mira. So let's go through the changes. So Blackbeard, of course, he looks awesome. He's got a repel version of his shield, which shield operators don't normally have. So it's pretty cool for like potentially assault on windows. Then we got the breach and dash, which gives him a little push, and he can go through walls or castle barricades. And he's got his full-size gun, but he is losing the deagle. And he is now a 3 armor, 1 health operator. And of course his shield is pretty sweet. Only has 4 charges, so that's that charge that he actually does to go through walls and castle barricades. He only has 4 of them, so he's not a sledge replacement. You can also see that his MK17 has been buffed, so the damage has gone up to 44 from 40. Magazine size has been increased to 25 from 20. Total ammunition has also been increased, and the SR25 unchanged. And he's got frag grenades and claymores. So let's talk about shields. First up is Monty. So he's actually had his guard break buffed. So it's not as bad when he's been attacked. But the way that the guard break has been changed means that it's a nerf. So even though it says that the animation strength here has been reduced, it's not the case. Then we've got Sens, and I think this is a great change. The ability to actually switch on and off the laser walls should be good, I think, but we'll see in normal gameplay. We've got Thunderbird. So Thunderbird's going to give you a buff after the gadget heals you, which will just heal you for 2 HP per second, so you'll go back to full health eventually if you don't take any additional damage from some other source. We've got Ying. So the Candelas, main difference here is if you do a full cooking, you will no longer get the instant detonation. Instead, it will actually go for a couple of meters before it does. So that seems to be the major change to Yang. I don't think it's going to make much difference, but we'll see. Ying players, let me know. Then we got a little bit of surprise change here, which is the stun grenades. You used to have 3 of them, you will now have 2. And this will affect, of course, all these operators who have stun grenades. And then we have our weapon balancing. So this is your ballistic shields. Massive nerf everywhere here. Damage reduced to 0 from 65. You've also got the suppressive fire. So if someone's shooting at your shield, you will now not be able to move as quick and stuff like that. And this will happen quicker. So yeah, that's going to be big nerf. And then you've got the guard break. If you keep getting attacked with melee attacks, your guard break will just start to break more and more and more until they can easily kill you. So 2 people running up to a Monty, meleeing a couple of times, they will be able to kill that Monty. So big change. Shield operators will probably not be nearly as offensive as they were before. And of course it will affect these shield operators. So Blackbeard of course being one of them. Then we've got a buff to shotguns. So it seems they're actually trying to improve the semi-automatic shotguns, or at least some of them. So ADS cone reduction has been reduced for these shotguns. The hip fire cone has been reduced for these ones, so you should technically be more accurate. Then we've got a recoil change for PC and console for the shotguns too. So the first shot, so when you fire off that first round, you're going to have less recoil than you have now for these shotguns. But after the first shot, you're going to have increased vertical recoil for these shotguns. So this is a buff for the very first shot, and then this is a nerf for the shots afterwards. And it looks like this one is the only one that's avoiding this nerf down here. So this will just be, we jump in and play and see what they're like. Then we've got the rank distribution, so you can see how people are. Most players are down here with much less of the player base above gold. And this is the same for the console and PC. Now, because console is going to have crossplay, you can now go and get your console rank, and then you can go to PC and get your PC rank. So you can actually have both ranks if you want. So that was a lot to go over, but that's our changes for the new season. I think it's good. If the console test server had made it, this would make it an exceptional season. Because that doesn't seem to be the case, this is more of a normal season, but it's still good. I like the changes here. I'm not against them. I do think shields are probably now too weak. Overall, I like the Blackbeard too, and normally I don't play shield operators much, but I usually play Blackbeard quite a bit. So now I'm like, am I going to play Blackbeard as a shield operator, which I don't normally do? Because I kind of like the idea of running around with a shield with an assault rifle, and yeah, he might actually play into my playstyle, so I'm looking forward to playing Blackbeard on the live servers when he comes out. So yeah, and I think Thunderbird change is great. Ying change is basically nothing to me, I think, but yeah, we'll see. It could be that it actually has a much bigger impact than I think it will. Reducing the stuns is interesting, bringing that down to 2 from 3. And yeah, and nice to have a little buff for the shotties in there too. But I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will catch you next time.